fear-free creativity. Our superpower is our imaginations and our confidence to express it creatively, use it to solve problems, enhance our life, increase our happiness by stepping into creative flow, stimulate our immune system by expressing emotions in a positive and respectful way, whatever they are. If we express our feelings, it stimulates our immune system. So we also can use our creativity to connect with others, which is a joyous and purposeful place, medically, scientifically documented that giving actually increases more of those happy chemicals in the brain, the endorphins, than receiving. So it's selfish of me, self-serving in a good way, to be sharing these live stream virtual visits with you, hoping that there's something here that inspires, informs, gives you some ideas, some information to motivate you to connect with your imagination. We all have one. In my 20s, when 9 people in one day, separate, didn't hear each other, asked me to teach, I thought they know something I don't, so I'm going to listen. And I wrote a curriculum called Dancing into the Arts and taught as an artist in residence, every grade level, a different school each week, mental hospitals, drug rehab, juvenile delinquent homes, crisis shelters, all kinds of populations, including professional women, nurses, therapists. So every level, other than preschool or I did some elder work since I've been back in Duluth, but in my 20s, what I discovered is, well, first of all, that I love teaching. You learn so much when you're teaching. They say that's the best way to learn is by teaching. And I agree, because you have to break it down and go to where those that you're working with, hoping to inform and inspire are, which requires that you get it on a not just mental, but a spirit feeling level. So I love teaching, and I love the purpose I feel sharing with you. So that's what this new series that, as I said, I started teaching in my 20s, and I've been being a creativity coach for groups and individuals ever since, periodically. But this is going to be 52 episodes in fun, fear-free creativity, our superpower. And we're going to explore word, visual, movement, sound, and they're all fun, lighthearted exercises. I call them artistic adventures that any level can do and enjoy. And every first grader, second grader I met when I went to a different school each week and taught 5 classes a day could dance color, could tell a story with the dance, could make a poem about the dance, could make music to go with the poem, could draw to music. Anything I suggested based on the materials I had, they just flowed right into it. And that's what we're going to get back to. A lot of us have been damaged by the critical, competitive things people say in this world, fear-based control, and we've hidden or submerged our imaginations, our creative passion, our confidence to express our creativity, and our courage to share it with others have been covered over with hurtful things. So we're going to do our best to uncover that place of joy and enthusiasm, childlike wonder. And just, there's no wrong way to do these adventures. The only thing that I think isn't right is not trying. So we're going to do our best, and we're going to be happy with whatever we do in each of the exercises and not compare ourselves to others. We're going to do our best to do that. Just appreciate ourselves for having the willingness to try it. And I wore this dress that Sue Spencer picked out of a used store and left it for me, which started me stenciling the warblers and wildflowers. This was the first dress I stenciled in this series. That last week I showed 60 outfits, 110 different clothing items that I stenciled, and I think 250 different stencil things that I'd created. And now all 18 flowers are up on my Patreon for members at no extra fee. And I'm going to keep bringing out the stencil designs. There's about 300 of them, so we're going to keep it going. And as I said, the members have access to all of them for no extra fee. And anybody else that wants to get one or two of them, I guess they're about $3 a piece. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Thank you, Bodhi. My collaborator, the one with the expertise, he asked me to work with him when he became an adult and named us Mother Son Productions. So here we are producing, and I'm very, very happy about it. Yes.
Joni B on YouTube. I've got my adventure notebook ready.
Fantastic, Joni. I'm so happy to hear that. And what I'm going to do today, I'm putting my gloves on because I just oiled my hands so I don't get it on any of this stuff. And what I'm going to do today is show you the different ways that we can make personalized notebooks I like to call them our captain's log of our journey through these creative explorations, these artistic adventures. So I wanted to say a little bit about Sue Spencer having given me this dress, which inspired me to do these 60 outfits we showed last week in that exhibition. So listening to other people and being open to their suggestions and their input, like the 9 people suggesting I teach in my 20s, opened that whole area of tremendous fulfillment and purpose and joy for me. So did Sue leaving this dress for me to stencil. And yesterday when I was talking to her, she said, maybe you should wear wings. So I put on my wings that I made for a skating crane outfit I did years ago. And so that is to celebrate creativity, our superpower that lifts us. It's what lifted me out of my despair and difficult times in my life, which there's a lot of stories in my memoir, Incandescence, that are also, if you go to my YouTube channel, The Creativity Show, all 19 episodes that include the audio version, me reading my stories, are listed there in one category. So you can listen from the beginning to through the 52 stories in the book. The book is available in ebook and print, black and white, color. I suggest color because there's 68 pieces of art and 40 photographs in it. So I think it's worth the little bit more it costs. So today we're going to begin with, I'm going to show you what I think is the simplest, least expensive is a folder with typing paper. Do we have the overhead Okay, so a folder that actually came as an advertisement that I saved because I try to recreate with everything. So there's this kind of a folder. There's also these generic plain folders that I put some stencil designs on. So that is a really inexpensive way to a little more ornate stenciling there. A very frugal way to begin the journal. The next step up might be a book. And so, of course, there's many different sizes of journals. Here's one that I wrapped in fabric so I could stencil it. And here's something I just thought I'd share with you. This was my attempt at which I haven't finished yet, a purse that had a little address book that had a journal that went with it. So the lady artists' little traveling companions, the journal, address book, and purse. So there's stenciling on fabric. And here's what the cover that would go on a journal. Here's another stenciled journal. And here's the pattern for the fabric that would be then glued, taped onto a journal. So these are a small version, which is, it's your choice. Everything in this series will be, you get to decide how you use your imagination, your creativity. So here's another journal that's painted. It was actually a gift, and it had some really bright dots of color that I thought wasn't my, I didn't like it as much as I like this sponged paints over it. So I did that, personalizing it. And then here's another sweet little stencil sponging book. This is actually postcard size. And then we have a fabric that isn't painted or stenciled because it's a beautiful fabric that I made years ago. These are my journals from, I've journaled probably since I was 14. Sometimes every day, sometimes not very often. It all depends on what I need. I journal to record things, to have a place I can share my truth, to have a sacred witness. Somebody's coming up the driveway now that actually is Rose from the International Crane Foundation to pick up some of my books and my crane stationery, and I'm going to step around the table and come out to the window and wave. Can she see us? You can open that curtain.
There she is. Come on over here.
Okay. Excuse us for a moment.
Look, she got her done. Should I?
Okay. Okay. Great. Okay. Great. I have no idea what she said, but I'm just saying.
My husband.
That's right. Great. She's, yeah. So, yes, so that was, she's picking up books and stationery for the International Crane Foundation. I did well, she's picking up my memoir, signed for the gallery there. And my first published book was the Book of Cranes, inspired by getting to sit in the cages, the enclosures. They weren't really cages, with the 15 species of cranes that George Archibald, the co-founder of the International Crane Foundation, let me do before Bodie was even born. And it inspired me to paint all 15 species and write this book that was very much about the different cultures and the history of how long cranes have inspired people around the world. So that's a great connection. And yeah, Rose has also purchased a piece of my original art. So I'm very, very moved to have my art with her. I have to wave one more time to say she's not really looking, so we'll wave again. That's nice. That was a sign language visit. So that makes me very happy. So I'd like to get back to this. Here's a fabric covered with a nice little pen spot. And here's another fabric covered that actually has a place for a phone and a pen. Oh, place for a phone and a pen. So these are all ideas that you get to choose which way you go. If you are going to buy a journal, there are these big sizes, which are really nice for the sketching, painting, collaging parts of this artistic adventure we're going on. But there's the more practical. Here's one of my invitations to one of my exhibitions years ago that I taped on this journal. So as you can see, I have lots of, I'm looking for the one size that somehow isn't here. Oh, here it is. So here's a nice small one. And this one, I might put pretty paper on it. I might paint, stencil, collage, draw. You get to do whatever you want, and you get to change it anytime you want. So that's part of the fun of creativity, is there's no wrong way to do it, and we get to evolve. So I'm showing some stencil paper stuff next. Here's some envelopes I made for, like here's a little thank you card. I actually had gift certificates at exhibitions in this size, silk scarves in this size, and the larger silk scarves in this size. So that's the reason I've been doing the stencils, which are going to keep coming out, as well as this material on ideas of how to use it. The stencils, just ideas. You get to decide what you do with it. Here's a little stencil test. Here's another stencil test that had different kinds of laminate to keep it more waterproof. And this piece here had no laminate on top of it, so I could see which way I wanted to go in designing things with this test. So then the way I'm going to go for this 52 series, Fun, Fear-Free Creativity, is this box idea. Now this box and what I covered with it cost me nothing, because we had it in a piece of technology came in this box. So I took out the insides, and I'm saving them, and I'm not wrecking the box, so that just in case, before the technology is out of warranty, if we need to send it back, we have the box. So what I'm doing is wrapping the cover in a sketch pad, an old sketch pad cover. I love to save everything that might have a purpose later in an organized way, so that when I do come up with a purpose for it, I can find it. So I have, which I have heard over the years is unusual for artists, but I don't think it needs to be. I'm organized. And so you'll see with my fine art supply cabinet in a few minutes here that I like to have things with other things like it, so that I can find it easily, quickly, when I need it. So when the inspiration hits, I'm ready without getting frustrated, and go find the tools, the materials, while the inspiration is still warm. So I think they say strike.
Rose is watching on Facebook.
Rose is?
Yes.
Hey, Rose. Love you. Thank you so much. I'm so happy for your connecting with you through the ICF, and we really look forward to a visit. And I'm so happy that a piece of my art is going to live with you. It's part of my spirit, and I'm really happy it's with you, and happy for your friendship, and grateful for your friendship and support. So enjoy your day, and we'll catch up soon. So then I cut the other parts of the drawing pad to go on the sides here. So simple as that. Now we have a box that I get to do whatever I want on, which I'm going to do a little stencil today for this purpose of having a place to keep the creations from this 52 episodes of Fun, Fear-Free Creativity. And what I'm going to use, and we have links, Bodhi will tell you about in a sec, but what I'm using is cardstock. We did the math, and how much was this per piece of paper? Pennies.
5 cents per piece of paper.
5 cents per piece of paper. But the reason I like this cardstock is it's the right weight for drawing, painting. It's also acid-free. If I'm going to do writing by hand, which I prefer, kinesthetically, I like writing by hand, and then sometimes I put it on, transcribe it onto the computer. But I like writing by hand, and that's why I have so many journals. But if I do the writing part, unless I'm also going to draw and paint with it, I'll probably use typing paper. But I got this cardstock that's 300 sheets because it's really a great deal, and it fits perfectly in this box. So like everything else, I saved boxes. So I went to my box closet and found the right size box for this project, and based how I was going to archive my artistic adventure with you guys, my captain's log, and I like that it's a box. I like boxes. I always have ever since I was a little girl. My first treasures were in a thrown out cigar box that I repurposed to hold my feathers and stones and seashells. So simple as that. Now I'm going to, Bo, you want to show the art supply cabinet, and then I'll get out a few supplies to stencil this. I'm gonna, so you can just, yeah, show the cabinet, and I'm gonna get out some. So I have, whoops, I have pens, brushes, Sumi inks, carving tools, pencils, stencil brushes, colored pencils, pens, paints, inks, pastels, even some glass cutting tools, and kind of everything I need for visual art making, eraser and pencils and sharpeners and all of that. And then we have the music section here. Not sure what that is. And then we have, this is where I've done stationery design and stenciling design, and the Book of Cranes on its way to being published, went through a few different design phases. So there's visual, sound, word, and obviously we don't keep dancing in the cabinet. Dancing, yeah, but dancing happens. Dancing was my first creative form because I didn't need anything else. And so I'm going to do gold on this because it's symbolic. It feels like mining the riches of our imagination, and the benefits our creativity gives us are like gold. So I'm going to go for, I want, maybe I put this here so that the overhead camera can see it. This is how I organize my stencils, and with 300 of them, 300 of them, we have deer, origami cranes, feathers, wings, pollinators, insects, dragonflies, wildflowers, regional warblers and wildflowers, flowers, branches, it goes on and on. So I'm going to get some flowers out of the front here and choose which one. Oh, that's the warblers and flowers, so we're going to go for the flowers. So let's take that one out and go with, well, let's go with what came out first, the mum. That'll work beautifully. Okay, so before we do this, the drawing pads are also a great way to archive our artistic adventure. And it doesn't have to be any one way. It can be typing paper writing, a journal for writing, a sketch pad for the visual parts. It can be anything you want. And there, like I said, there's no wrong way to do it. The only thing that isn't right, in my opinion, is not trying. So whatever makes it easy for you. And know that doing these exercises, going on these artistic adventures, which I'm going to talk about the first one in a moment, first one after making a way to archive our adventure, the process of doing it is stepping into our flow, which increases our happiness, medically, scientifically documented. So it's good for us. That's why children in healthy environments are happy and they play naturally, and that is stepping into flow and happiness increasing. And it is my observation and opinion that the older we get, the more we need to do that, because the more disappointments, the more assaults, betrayals of trust, difficulties, pains, struggles we've gone through, the more responsibilities we have. So the more important it is to find a place to play. And for me, that is creativity. And that's why I think it is life-enhancing, problem-solving, happiness increasing, health increasing superpower. Because no matter what else we have or don't have, and as a little girl, all I had was dance, but that was enough. It kept me happy. And finding little pretty little rocks or seashells or feathers or drying flowers, those were my treasures. And we moved around a lot, and I came from a very chaotic, dysfunctional family. And so I didn't have friends. I stopped going to school at 7 and never really went back until I taught, ironically. And but I found this happy place, and that's creativity, and that's why I'm on this mission to share it with as many as possible. It increases our peace, our happiness. How can there be too much peace and happiness in the world, especially now? And for me, nature is my muse and my design teacher, because it's so important for us to remember that living in harmony with it is crucial. It's necessary. Nature will go on without us, but we will not go on without nature. So let's do this chrysanthemum. And this chrysanthemum is a good symbol for this artistic adventure we're going on, because of its many petals. And there's the only limitation to the ways we can use our creativity is our own willingness to imagine them. So the many petals of our prolific imaginations and the possibilities of expressing it creatively this is a great symbol for that. And I'm most of the time, very instinctive about how I express my creativity. And then quite often, after reflecting on it, later I go, oh, that's why that felt right. And honestly, I just pulled out the first flower of the 18 that are now available to you guys, whether you're a Patreon member or not. And there is a way to be a free Patreon member. But the $5 a month membership gets you all the stencil designs at no extra cost. The next thing I'm going to do is start sharing the Warbler and Wildflower. There's 26 in that series. And then it'll probably be the cranes after that, but it's just going to keep going. And till they're all out there. And the stencils are a great way to step into our creative flow. And anybody, just hold it still, and with some paint, cone brush, or you can trace it with a pencil and color it in with crayons, colored pencils, pastels. It's all up to you what you do with it. So those are part of the creative decisions you get to make. So there we go. There's the first physical step in this adventure. And now I'm going to talk a little bit about what we're going to do next. It is going to go back and forth between visual art, movement, sound, and word. So the next thing we're going to do, and you can start it at any time, and you can go backwards and do, as we progress, any of these artistic adventure suggestions at any time. You can do them over and over. You can, any way you want to do it. You can do them backwards from the when the end is out there, which will be 52 live streams from now. You can go backwards, you can start in the middle, you can choose to only do the visual, only do the sound, but I suggest you try them all, because it is all the really wise and accomplished people that I respect. I've never heard anyone not agree with my perception of that, if we make a little music, it can help the dance better. If we do a little movement, it can help the visual art. If we do a little visual art, it can help the word crafting. So they all connect. Creativity is in all of us. It flows through all of us. And the more we clear that conduit, we clear the doubt and the fear-based competitiveness that life is full of, and advertisements constantly bombard us with, you need this to be good enough, or you need that to be respected, or whatever, and compete with each other, when the truth is, real freedom, real superpower is knowing, excuse me, that we are good enough as we are. And when we enjoy the process of getting better at whatever we're doing by enjoying doing it, that is how we get better. And so the first thing we're going to do, the first next suggestion I have is in the writing part. Write. And I do suggest that handwritten is good because we're moving, and there's something kinesthetic. It is proven that while moving, our brains work better. So sitting stiff at a computer may not be flow inspiring, but you can do that if you want to. It's your choice. But write about what you'd like to accomplish, what areas you'd like to flow creatively more effortlessly, what areas with your imagination and your creative expression would you like to be more confident? Where would you like to be more at ease, more comfortable to explore and express yourself? And then I would suggest that you also write the things that people have said or done that you remember scaring you, hurting you, closing you down, because that can really help. For me, my most challenging area is singing, because my alcoholic father and my older sister who died young because of trying to medicate herself with drugs and alcohol, bless them, but they would tag team me if I would hum. They would act like it hurt to hear me. And I mostly was silent and only talked to my mother. I didn't really have a conversation with a friend until I was 14, because I knew that the environment wasn't safe. There was danger in it. So I mostly stayed to myself, and I only danced in the backyard when no one was around. I didn't show my tender spirit to anyone but my mother, because she was the only one that I knew would never hurt me. But if I was humming in the next room and I'd walk in and they would have heard me, they would have been cringing. So it took me a long time before I would ever use my voice in front of other people. And then it took a long time for me to be comfortable to even chant, sing. I still call it audio art because I don't really play tunes with my bamboo flute. I don't really learn other people's songs. So I call it audio art, and that way I don't have to measure up to anyone else's standards or compete with anyone. But it's been hard for me, and it took a number of different people hearing me singing in the shower or in the car when I thought they were asleep or whatever, saying, "You have a beautiful voice," for me to accept that that might be true. And I still can understand and empathize with any of us who have been hurt and who have hidden our tender, vulnerable stuff, which is where creativity lives, in our most vulnerable, real feeling place. So it takes courage to express it, and it can be quickly damaged. When I started a way to learn to dance for joy in my 20s, when people asked me to, every adult that would come to my adult education classes would tell me about things people had said to them that they believed, and how we all have to jettison that baggage, that weight. And that's why I wore wings. It's about letting go of the negativity, the fear-based control, I call it, and embracing the supportive love of ourselves, of each other, of the world. And that is the creative journey, is accepting ourselves, that we are good enough as we are. We will get better at anything we practice, including putting ourselves down. So it is very important to turn that ship around before it hits a rock and runs aground, and give ourselves permission to float free and enjoy the expanse of our sea of imagination. And so that's what this is all about. So let us write where we'd like to go, where we'd like to be freer, what we'd like to accomplish. Let us admit what has happened to us, been said, been done, that frightened us, closed us down. And then let us end the writing with our most positive message we can articulate in words to ourselves. And I haven't practiced this. I haven't thought this out before now. I like to be spontaneous as much as possible. That's what it's about. So, my most positive message, I got to have a mother who was always kind and supportive. And I know that's a tremendous gift that a lot of people don't have. But there's always someone, and if we don't know who they are, let's find them and be that in that relationship, and be that for someone else. The one that says, you're beautiful, you're worthy. What you think, what you feel is totally valid. And let us act on those feelings and thoughts that make our life better and make the life of others better. And let us admit the difficult stuff, even the violent or vengeful things we might think or feel, but let us act on the expansive, loving things and make life better for ourselves and everyone. So let us end our writing project with an affirmation that could work for us. And all of this can evolve and change, and we can start with one thing and then it'll morph into another. The process, nothing is set. Everything keeps moving, just like life. So I think that feels really complete. On Thursday, anyone who wants to share something they've written is invited. I'm going to do each of these artistic adventures with you. I'm going to share whatever parts I want to share. I give myself the same permission that I am suggesting you give yourself, which is share what you're ready to. And protect your tender spirit. Do not share it with people who are competitive, jealous, fearful, and there's a lot of them. And some of them are not, they're passive aggressive. People can be jealous when we're free in an area they're not. So they can be nicey mean and say very dubious things, or things that are really not compliments, but they pretend they are. So give yourself permission to protect yourself from those that are dubious or definitely not supportive, and share with those few. If you are lucky, you have a couple. And if you don't, it's time to find them. And I'd love to be that. I'd be honored to be that for anyone. A safe place, a sacred witness. I don't tell other people's stories. I only tell my own. If people share things with me, it is in confidence. I will not repeat them unless they ask me to or give me permission. And so we can find someone, including our higher self, to share. And that's what journaling is. Our most important things to speak. We all need to be heard. So this writing exercise is, where do we want to go? What's held us back? And what's the goal? So write as much or as little on that, in a story, a haiku, a novel, series of prose, whatever works for you. Let it pour. And then if you want to share it with me privately or someone else, do so. If you'd like to share it in these live streams, you are invited to do so. And so that will be Thursday's adventure, and I will join you in that, as in every one of them. Yes.
On YouTube, I see. Love it, Claire. Thank you for sharing your creative confidence. I feel better after this.
Thank you very, very much. That's what I want. That's just, well, why I'm doing it. It helps me feel better and more positive. And that's what I want to share. That resource that we all have within us, that's what I want to share with others. So I think of myself as a guide for people on the way home to themselves. And we can all encourage each other. And that's what I want to do. That's what this community of compassionate creativity is about, helping each other feel free and access our fear-free creativity, our superpower. So let us rise above the difficulties in life and soar with a sweet spirit. Thank you. So I think that's a wrap for today.
Great. Good job.
Thank you for being here, and please tell a friend, and we're just going to keep going. And like I said, there's no right way, no wrong way to do it. And people can join in at any point, and the videos will be out there. So if they want to see what we did in the past, they want the 19 live streams with the audiobook. They want to see the 60 outfits done in stencils. They want to see the house tour of the Emerald Lady that Bodhi and I restored and appointed ourselves. It's all there. So join us on this joyous journey.